Hey there, it's me, the Cartoon Geek, and today I want to talk about something that has been bothering me for the past couple of months. Now, I love Cartoon Network. You all know that. But more specifically, I love Regular Show. It is among my top 10 best series of Cartoon Network. I said it before in my Ed and Eddie review that it was very simple at its core. It was just about two guys, two best friends even, just living life in a minimum wage job, having crazy adventures. I really want to put emphasis on the best friend aspect. Even in Regular Show the movie, even when it's confirmed that Rigby pretty much ruined Mordecai's life, they still find a way to get through it. That's how good friends they are. But what happens when an episode completely throws this idea out the window in favor for one character sort of being a simp and the other character essentially being an annoying little brat? You get this episode. It's time. I really don't want to waste any time. Really, no pun intended. But let's just get into it. So we start the episode off with a trailer for a new movie, Zombie Dinner Party. We see that Rigby got 2 tickets to take himself and Mordecai, and we see that Mordecai got 2 tickets for Pajama's sister's party to take himself and Margaret.
No, dude, I got these tickets for me and Margaret. I'm finally gonna try and ask her out.
Very early on, we get the main dilemma of the episode, and I do think it was a smart way to start us off, considering that in this type of episode, where both main characters are friends, you don't really want one of them to be the bad guy. It's just the dilemma of choosing a best friend over a person of interest.
They're just gonna sit around talking about their feelings, fully clothed.
Wow, either Cartoon Network was really lenient back then, or that just went right past the censors. Just, wow, okay, it's okay with them, it's okay with me. So after we see Mordecai give the weakest attempt at asking someone out I've ever seen, Rigby makes a pretty good joke, and we get one of the bigger problems I have with this episode.
Dude, did you see how hard Margaret laughed at me?
That wasn't funny.
Yes, it was. Man, what's your problem? Hey, Margaret, I can help you move too. Ow! What?
Nothing.
Wait a minute. You're jealous.
What? No, I'm not.
Dude, you're just jealous because I made her laugh and all you do is sit like this.
That problem is the fact that both Mordecai and even more so Rigby, in my opinion, act very hostile towards each other. What's worse is that neither of them have a good reason to do what they do in this episode. Mordecai complains that Rigby is ruining his chances when he doesn't even make the move himself. He blames Rigby for all his downfalls when for the most part it's his own doing. And sure, you can make the case that Rigby makes his jokes when Mordecai tries to ask Margaret out, but those were only after his failed attempt. He has only himself to blame for his downfall, till a certain point in the episode, which we'll get to just a tiny bit later. He isn't exactly simping over Margaret. I feel like that word is thrown around loosely when it comes to Mordecai. And I also want to bring up that maybe Mordecai could have asked Rigby for help. I mean, you could clearly see where he was going wrong, and you could also clearly see where Rigby was going right. I'll also add more to this in just a moment, because I've spent a lot of time on this first few scenes alone. So after more failed attempts at asking Margaret out, and more scenes of Rigby being a total Chad, we finally get to the bit that made me want to review this episode.
Margaret, want to see something cool? Bam! 2 tickets to the Zombie Dinner Party premiere. Want to go with me tonight?
You actually got tickets? Yeah, I'll totally go with you tonight.
Mordecai can't come because I only got 2 tickets.
Rigby is Mordecai's friend. No, his best friend, right? We all know that. So why would he blatantly ignore his friend's struggles and ask Margaret out himself? I thought they were friends, but apparently Rigby couldn't help flexing off and showing off to Mordecai. This scene really infuriates me because it takes away the aspect of Mordecai and Rigby being best friends, and instead focuses on Rigby being a jerk because he's way too petty just because Mordecai won't go to a movie with him. And sure, it was hard to get those tickets, but he could have just traded in those tickets for another day. I mean, I'm pretty sure he could do that. And it's not like even if they didn't go to see the movie, it was gonna be the end of the world. Rigby also taunts Mordecai for the rest of the episode, mocking him for not making a move, when Rigby himself, and this is the point I brought up earlier, could have easily helped Mordecai from the goodness of his heart, because yes, he does have one. He even blatantly says that he's gonna kiss Margaret, which makes Rigby way more unlikable than he should be in this episode. I get that he was disappointed that Mordecai bailed on him a bit, but he didn't have to go that far. And sure, Rigby doesn't have the best moral compass at times, but he is still a good friend, and a good friend would never do this. What's worse, Rigby doesn't even get punished at the end, but we'll get to that a bit later. So we see that Mordecai, to get back at Rigby, decided to remove the battery from his watch, yet somehow forgot about all the other clocks. Ugh. I really want to move past that, but I really feel in the mood to tear everything apart in this episode. So we get a chase scene that ends in Mordecai putting all of the clocks in the microwave, which sends them to a void. Even if Mordecai didn't know that would happen, he probably would have guessed that microwaving electrical appliances wasn't gonna be the best idea. And then we get to the worst scene of the episode. In fact, I dare to call it the worst scene of the entire show. I really want to analyze this. I know that might be a bit nitpicky to some of you, but this whole 20 seconds or so really fascinates me.
What's your problem? Why do you have to be jealous all the time?
Shut up! This is all your fault! I finally get a chance to ask out Margaret, but you had to butt in and ruin everything!
No, I didn't! I just wanted to see zombie dinner party with my bro, who flaked on me for some girl who doesn't even know he exists!
I'll kill you! Rigby!
First off, he didn't butt in. He was just cracking jokes off after your failed attempts, because you didn't take your chances. And even you, at this point, should know that you're jealous, because you have more of an emotional compass than Rigby. Even if Rigby was in the wrong by doing what he did, you acted extremely hostile towards him, which caused this whole problem. If you were acting a bit less hostile to him, and after he had asked Margaret out, maybe this would have been justified a bit more.
No, I didn't! I just wanted to see zombie dinner party with my bro, who flaked on me for some girl who doesn't even know he exists!
He didn't flake on you though. He had a good reason for not going. You could have been a bit more supportive of him. But no, you're too petty to accept defeat. You're too petty to just move on with life because you won't get what you want in this episode. You could have just gone to see the movie at a different time. And the whole comment of Margaret not even acknowledging him was a very low blow. Makes me dislike Rigby even more. And finally, Mordecai, out of his own jealousy, even with what Rigby did, kills his best friend.
I'll kill you! Rigby!
He meant it as well. You could hear the emotion in his voice when he did it. Huh. I honestly rate this episode as the worst episode in this series, at least out of all the ones I've watched, which is, admittedly, almost all of them. It completely ignores the idea of Mordecai and Rigby being friends. Everyone acts extremely hostile, mean, petty, and jealous, and none of this was enjoyable. I would never watch this episode again, even if my life depended on it. I don't even want to talk about the last 2 minutes or so. Just know that Mordecai goes back in time, Rigby never gets punished for what he did, Mordecai finally admits his jealousy way too late, and that was its time. You already know what I think of this episode. I really don't want to repeat myself. If you enjoyed the review, consider subscribing if you want more regular show reviews, follow me on Twitter, share this with your friends, and I'll see you whenever. Gosh, that was bad.